Welcome into the Slobberknocker Sports Podcast, episode 72. We're here to talk college basketball, Turner's favorite, the NBA. We'll have some WNBA.
Association.
Yeah, the association. We might need an NBA or not, since you don't even know the NBA that well.
Oh, honestly, yeah, you might fool me with more of those guys, like just fringe NBA guys, than WNBA. But let's keep in mind we are a WNBA show through and through, so
yeah.
I think we do need. We're running out of players probably, but the great thing about that is you can just reload them because I don't remember them.
Yeah, that's exactly right, which is what I did this week. I actually used one that I know I've used before.
Yeah, there have to be.
Because I was like, oh, he won't remember this one.
No, God, no.
You might have got it last time and you won't get it this time.
Yep, 100%.
Let's jump into it. Make sure if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, comment below. All interaction helps us grow the channel. And check out our Patreon as well. I'll put the link in the description. But let's jump into it. We're going to go to best thing I saw this week from the start here. And the reason I'm going to do that first is because it's actually a buzzer beater. So this is Spurs versus Grizzlies. Did you see this?
I didn't.
So Spurs versus Grizzlies, and we're tied at 125. Now keep in mind, Ja Morant and Desmond Bane, the two leading scorers for Memphis, did not play in this game.
Is Ja hurt, or is he having more gun issues?
I think he just sat
Bailey,
out.
He's just sitting out, load management.
He's past that, okay? That's in his past.
Sure.
He's a good guy. Okay. He's from like a super nice neighborhood, dude. That's the funniest part about that. Okay. Pick it up in the fourth quarter. We're tied at 125. Shocker that we're at 250 total. And De'Aaron Fox is going to step back and get fouled by Zach Edey on a three. Zach Edey and Stephon Castle actually got into it about a minute ago in this game with like 2 minutes to go in the game.
Zach Edey and him did?
Yeah, there was like a jump ball, and Stephon Castle wouldn't let go of it, and Zach Edey was trying to act tough, and it
Ooh, is that a flagrant?
They didn't review it. It was very close to a flagrant. But, okay, so De'Aaron Fox is going to knock down all 3 free throws. Memphis is going to get the ball back down by 3. And you're going to see a very, very lucky shot here from Jaren Jackson Jr. So they need a 3 to tie it. He decides to launch this instead of going for 2. And he's going to bank it in off the glass.
What a shot.
And then he's going to act like he meant to do it.
Yeah, he did. He called glass.
Look at that. He's like, let's go.
He said, I called glass.
Let's go. I knew it. Okay, so Spurs get the ball back. Now, keep in mind, De'Aaron Fox earlier this year hit a game winner against the Charlotte Hornets, but we were tied. He hit a 2, and then we gave up a 3 on the last possession. He then hit a game winner, but it was too late. He didn't get it off. So now Spurs get the ball back, and he's got a chance to redeem himself from the last time when technically the defensive mistake on the 3 was his. So they're tied, 128 all. They double him. He gets it back, and De'Aaron Fox does not care there's a double coming here. Loses Jalen Wells. Boom. Bang for the win. He was not shooting the ball well in this game either. He was 5 of 15 before that shot, or 6 of 16 before that shot.
It's crazy that we have Wemby out. They have their 2 leading scorers out, and there's still 258 points in the game.
It just shows you how bad defense is in the NBA. But
no, it shows you how good the offense is, Dylan.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's what J.J. Redick once said. These guys that don't know what they're talking about. You just can't stop NBA players.
That's what it is. Yeah, great offense beats great defense. I like that they mobbed De'Aaron Fox. I wanted us to lose just for lottery purposes.
We're doing plenty of losing, dude.
I know we are, but it was good for De'Aaron Fox to get that shot, and it seemed like a good moment.
Yeah, he's got to be super frustrated in the sense he came here to play with Wemby, and then Wemby gets a blood clot, and he's done for the year, and he's like, okay, well, now we're just fucked. So
you have a best thing you saw this week?
Yeah, it was buzzer beater.
Which one?
Michigan State.
Oh, I forgot. We're going to get to that in 2-minute drill. Let's get into the 2-minute drill.
Let's get in 2-minute drill.
All right. So, De'Aaron...
I thought we were starting out with buzzer beater. It kind of is.
Now, we'll go into 2-minute drill, which is buzzer beater of the week as well. And
watch out now.
Did Green Bay end up pulling them off, or did they lose in OT?
No, they lost in OT. Yeah, shout out Doug Gottlieb. They were up by like 7 or 9 with like 45 seconds to go on Oakland and found a way to lose. Only Doug Gottlieb could find a way to lose that game.
Listen, I agree with Doug. You look at those results, they're playing better ball. They were losing by 30. Now they're getting these games into OT.
Well,
trust the process.
When you're losing by 37 and you're allowing teams to go on 28-0 runs, there's only one direction to go.
That was a crazy. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. Okay,
they scored again. They scored again.
We're gonna go to one that Bailey's not going to like, but it was a great buzzer beater.
Volunteers.
The Volunteers. He's flicking us off right now.
Double pistols.
Okay, so we're going to pick it up here late in the second half. Tennessee was actually down by 4 with 30 seconds to go, got an and one, missed the free throw, got fouled on the rebound, and then made 2 free throws to tie it. So Bama gets the ball back with essentially the shot clock off. There's like a 3/10 difference between shot and game clock. So this is Faison, their freshman, and he's going to pass up Mark Sears, who's the best player on the team, and try to drive and turn it over. Now, probably was a steal by Tennessee.
That was a bullshit jump ball.
And they called a really early jump ball by that official, but I will say he does atone for it here. So Alabama has 3 timeouts. They're going to use one after the jump ball because Alabama retains possession. Okay, and so now Alabama here going to try to inbound it, and I did time this. It was actually like about 5.5 or 6 seconds, but they do not get this ball in trying to inbound it here. It's a 5-second call. They had added about 1.5 seconds back on the clock, so now all of a sudden Tennessee's got the ball with 3.8 to go, and it is a tie ball game. So now Alabama's trying to just avoid a buzzer beater. Looked like they had won the game. The winner of this game probably gets the last 1 seed. That's kind of the general belief going into this one. Now, Rick Barnes, and you mentioned this as we were watching the game together, he's saying to get the ball across half court and call timeout. That's what he wants to do here. So Tennessee's going to run the play here, and they're going to get it into Meshack, and Meshack's going to push it up, and he's going to bang this incredible game winner. Boom. And they storm the court. Now, that was awesome. It was a great game winner. However, if you go back and watch Rick Barnes here.
Oh, he's calling timeout.
You can see him here, and we didn't see this. We thought he was upset that he didn't get the shot off, but we went back and I noticed it late that he was calling timeout the entire time, trying to get a timeout by the officials. And you can see him right here. He's trying to call timeout. He's trying to call timeout. He doesn't even see the shot.
Yeah.
And he just now, there, realizes they won.
Puts his hands.
And if you look right here, and you listen, if I can play the volume here.
To be honest with you, I was calling timeout. I didn't see the play. I knew when the way they lined up, Shaq and I made eye contact, and I felt like if he could get it and get it as far down the floor, if we could just get it across half court and have 1 second on the clock, we got a play where I thought we could get a high percentage shot instead of the shot from half court.
So
he made it.
Yeah, he made it. And
it wasn't, he got a good, it was bizarre that guy didn't step up, and there was a guy for Alabama just sitting inside the 3-point line. I'm like, what are you doing?
Nate
there's
Oates,
no way he could,
Nate Oates in the press conference, to his credit, he was like, that entire end of game scenario is completely on me. He goes, we had 2 timeouts. He goes, we were having trouble getting the ball inbounds based on out of bounds the entire game. Because we ran a play that took too long, and then I shouldn't even let it get there. I should have called timeout at 4.
Yeah, or 3,
whatever. And he goes, that was on me.
Anyway, wild ending. Yeah, it was funny with him trying to call timeout, and then he throws his hands up in the air like, what the fuck? And then it goes in. They tell him, hey, coach, we won. It went in. He goes, oh my God, shakes hands. Pretty damn funny.
That was hilarious.
Classic Rick Barnes.
I love Rick Barnes. I know Bailey is not a Tennessee guy, but
Rick's the man. Rick's the man.
You
Come
can't
on,
deny.
Bailey. You gotta love Rick.
Do you hate Rick Barnes?
No.
He doesn't feel any way. Okay.
So that means he likes him.
That's like
anything associated. Like he hates Josh Heupel.
Yes, if he doesn't.
That's correct, right, Bailey?
If he doesn't hate Tennessee, or if he doesn't hate someone from Tennessee, then they must be like a pretty good person because he hates everybody about Tennessee.
Oh yeah, this is my best thing I saw.
It's like me with A&M.
Yeah, this is wild.
Okay, so
like Mike Elko's a nice guy. You claim he's a cross-dresser.
But he is. He is a cross-dresser. What are you talking about?
Sickening.
He wears women's dresses in his private room.
Man. All right,
let's go. That's the truth. Buzz Williams, love Buzz Williams. Okay, so we're gonna pick this up. Michigan State was actually up 4 with like 50 seconds to go. They fouled here, and they're going to inbound the ball to Trey Holloway, and Holloway is going to turn this over.
Such a bad turnover.
And then foul.
And so Maryland got the 2-for-1.
They got the 2-for-1.
Such a bad turnover.
It was the worst. Look
Izzo looks like he's going to explode on the inside.
Izzo looks like he wants to castrate that kid. I mean, he is livid. And he said in the press conference, he goes, I'm glad I didn't take him out. He goes, in my earlier days, I probably would have yanked him immediately, but I just left him in at this point. But he is like a veteran guy, and I think he's a senior, and he's been there for a long time. So it was a bad mistake. when they show the replay
Man,
on
that
this,
was a clean steal.
it was a
looked like,
complete
too.
clean steal. And
Yeah.
they show another angle here. I don't know if they do it right after he makes this first free throw, but it was like, they're going to show right
it
here.
looks
Watch.
like all ball.
Watch. I mean,
Yeah.
just didn't touch him.
No,
So it was a
yeah,
real
yeah.
bad call, but you don't reach there after you just turn the ball over.
Right.
And, okay, so they're going to make both free throws. I'm going to fast forward here. So Michigan State is going to take a timeout. Look at SVP right there.
I know. Now he goes, I got to go to work after that. That was so funny.
He's
after that.
hilarious. Okay, so Michigan State, now like you said, they can't get the last shot here. So about 20 seconds to go. They've got the ball. Holloway has it. Almost turns it over here. He's going to find Kohler inside, who gets a great look and misses it.
Just misses it.
And Gillespie is going to get the rebound for Maryland. Now, keep this in mind. Gillespie at this point has not made a three this game. He's 0 for 6 from 3.
And he fired this.
And he's 13 for 14 from the free throw line. And he fires this. Not only does he fire it, he starts his upward motion with 5 seconds to go.
Yeah.
He wanted to hit the shot in front of the crowd and be the hero. So he launches this three. It hits off the front rim, finds Kohler, who gets it to Holloway.
Splash.
Bang. And
That
just
was such a crazy ending.
unbelievable shot. And Michigan State walks it off. That basically, like, Gillespie's just in shock.
Good start to March.
Yeah, I mean, welcome
I don't
to
know
March.
if the last
folks.
day of February or whatever, but
Welcome
close
to
enough.
March. No, literally, this probably clinched the Big Ten for Michigan State because Michigan went on to lose yesterday at home to Illinois.
And Michigan, the Michigan State-Michigan split their 2 games?
They've only played once and Michigan State won.
Yeah.
And so Michigan State, if they win one of their last 2, automatically clinches a share of the Big Ten.
Right.
Or if Michigan loses one of the last 2, they clinch a share of the Big Ten.
Got it.
If they beat Michigan the last game, then they will win outright because they'll have beat them both times.
Yep.
Okay, so that was the buzzer beater of the week. Now, Bailey will like this one. This is a buzzer beater, but it's also a bad beat, and I actually was on the opposite side of this. And it wasn't really like the worst beat ever, but it was the only bad beat I could find this week.
Yeah.
And so basically Vanderbilt was down by 6 with under a minute and a half to go with the ball, and Missouri is laying 2.5 here. All right. And so Jason Edwards going to drive in here. He's going to get fouled. He's going to go to the free throw line for 2 and knock them both down. That's going to cut it to 4. It really felt like Missouri had won this game because they had scored on the last 2 possessions, and they were just hitting all kinds of stupid
Crazy
shit.
shots, yeah.
Just couldn't believe all the shit they were throwing up. Now, they're still up 4 here, right? 58 seconds to go. They've got the ball. Vandy has to have a stop here or game is over. And they're going to put up a 3. Caleb Grill's going to miss a long 3, and they're going to grab an offensive rebound. And at this point,
I thought that was over at that point.
thought it was over, right? Even at plus 2.5, you're thinking you're dead here. They're going to have to foul. We were talking about it, actually. Do you foul? Do you play this out? They decided to play it out and go for a steal. And they actually forced a turnover. On the ensuing possession, Vanderbilt gets fouled. Tyler Nickel goes to the free throw line and makes both and cuts it to 2. So now it's 75-77, 23 seconds to go. Vandy's going to have to foul here. And they do. They almost got a steal on the inbounds there. Okay, so Missouri's going to the free throw line here. And Robinson, who was 3 of 5 on the night, drains the first, drains the second. Now Vandy's down by 4. Going to be tough at this point. Hogarth, who did not play well, going to push it up.
Such a great player. My God.
Yeah.
What a player.
Gets it to Jason Edwards. Pump fake.
Dude,
Tough 3, man.
I forgot he made that before they made the time.
Yeah,
3.
dude.
That's crazy. This was a bad. If you're on Missouri, this is a bad
beat.
law.
It's a bad.
It's a bad beat.
All right, Missouri's going to get it in. They're going to foul Caleb Grill, who's like a 92% free throw shooter. Of course, he's going to make both. Now, I have no idea what Missouri's doing here. They have a timeout. They could call timeout and talk about fouling. They don't call it the timeout. Vandy has to go because they're at a timeout. They're going to get it in here to McLaughlin. He gets it back to Hogarth, who's going to drive. Now, this is where I have no idea why they didn't foul. There's 6 seconds to go right here when I stop this.
Yeah.
Should have fouled Hogarth right here. Okay, they didn't. Should have fouled him right here with 5 seconds. Now, look at the defender right here guarding Tyler Nickel. Just watching Hogarth, and he loses him for just a split second, and that cost him because Tyler Nickel is a sniper and bangs it. I was going bonkers at this point because I had Vandy plus 2.5.
It was crazy.
They get it to overtime, and then, of course, in overtime,
Commodores just
take
control.
If you blew a lead and now you're in overtime, you know you're dead at this point.
Yeah, for the most part, it always happens.
Hogarth finds Munion cutting here for a bucket, and Vandy basically just runs away.
Bailey,
with
what
it.
Ivy League school did Mignon come from? There you go.
I knew they said it on the broadcast, but I can't
Big
remember.
Red, baby.
Here's the dagger right here by Edwards. He did not play well in this game, but he hit some big shots.
Well, that's overwhelming.
Him. This was the dagger.
Yeah, that's what I was telling
right
Bailey. I was like, when I came in, I was like, Edwards didn't play very good. But then I was like thinking about it, and I was like, he didn't until like 30 seconds left in regulation, where he hit that 3, and then in OT started playing.
I mean, he hit 2 of the biggest shots of the game.
Yeah.
Missouri did.
Shout out Commodores. If they split their next 2 games, if they just win one of them, they're for sure in.
They're in if they lose their next 2 games.
I think so too. But Bailey was just, Bailey's just the ultimate pessimist. He's like you, he's like, oh, they might screw us.
They were projected. No, they're projected as a 9 seed going into that, so they're going to be a 7 or an 8 now. Yeah. They'd have to lose. They'd have to literally lose
3 in a row.
Yeah, they have to lose 3 in a row, and I still think they would get in. They'd have to lose 3 in a row, and like one of the losses would have to be real bad.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the standings.
I think they're in.
Yeah, if you look at the standings right now, they have a better record than Kentucky. So, and Kentucky's ranked. So there's no way. And then you can't argue like they don't have good wins because they literally beat Tennessee, Missouri, A&M, Kentucky. Like they've beaten a lot of ranked teams. So there's just no way. They should be in. They're in. They're going to make it in. I thought they were in just going into A&M and winning. I thought that was enough. But now you add the Missouri win. There's no way. And they were talking to Byington after the game. He's like, they were like, does it feel good to not be on the bubble anymore? He's like, yes, I'm tired of answering questions about how we feel about being on the bubble. But, man, he's done a heck of a job. And they talked about it. They got picked to finish dead last in the SEC going into the
Tell you
year.
What, magical things are happening in Nashville, Bailey.
Memorial Magic is a real thing.
Things are looking up.
Things
Football
are looking up.
Program.
Look at that.
Basketball.
Okay. And they didn't even think about storming the court. That's when you know you're starting to get big time. Dude, you could make an argument they should be ranked this week. I mean, they just beat Yeah, 3 ranked wins in a row. They've played. Their schedule is ridiculous. I think he said they had played 6 consecutive top 25 teams, and it was like 8 out of 9.
Yeah, SEC is crazy these days.
Okay, let's go to Brookie of the Week.
Oh yeah, I'll start it.
Go ahead.
Juju Watkins. This is a show.
Who is that?
She's a basketball player for USC, but this is a show that was founded on women's basketball. Essentially,
was it?
We sit here and have had more conversations about Caitlin Clark. And this girl's doing the same thing in college basketball, and there's not even a peep. Stephen A. said it best this morning. There's not a peep, never on TV. You got to ask yourself the question, why is that, Dylan? Why did Caitlin Clark get more love than Juju Watkins? Juju Watkins is a great player.
Because Caitlin Clark is way more fun to watch.
Please. Juju Watkins is far more athletic, and like Shannon Sharp said, plays far better defense.
Does anybody care?
Defense. Caitlin Clark doesn't play defense.
Does anybody care about defense?
Juju Watkins plays defense.
She won WNBA Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year in college basketball back-to-back years, set the all-time scoring record. I mean, come on. What are you asking me here?
I love Caitlin Clark. Please.
What are you asking me
here? I'm a huge
fan.
But Juju Watkins deserves the Brookie of the Week. She's playing great basketball out in
Who'd they play
Los
last
Angeles.
game?
I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to check the record. But I agree with my boy Shannon and Stephen A. that she deserves more love. And you know what? As a WNBA or not show, as a Caitlin Clark show, I think it's important that we, also talk about other great women's athletes, and that's what Juju Watkins is. Congratulations on the Brookie of the Week, Juju Watkins. That's all we have to say about that. Go ahead.
First of all, number 1, she's not going on the wall of Brookie because it's a troll job. Number 2,
no, yes, she is.
No, that's back to back. You gave yourself the Brookie last week.
I'm definitely going up there.
You gave yourself the Brookie last week, and then you go with Juju Watkins this week.
You get kicked out of fucking Chili's. You're going on the wall.
Okay, that's back to back. Very questionable
Bailey's
decisions.
Laughing.
Bailey is laughing. That's when you know it's funny because he doesn't laugh very often. But I'll tell you what. Look, if you keep on this direction, I'm going to take away your Brookie privileges, and I'm going to be giving the award every week, not you, okay? Don't
Watkins,
you dare
Brookie
put another women's basketball player on there unless it's Caitlin Clark ever again, all right? Now, moving on to my Brookie of the Week, the more important one, the real one who deserves it. We're going to go with Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo became the all-time winningest coach
Way to go, Tom.
in Big Ten history. He is the Big Ten. Izzo in March is a real thing. They have not lost in March, even though it's only been 1 game. We saw the magic that they had at the end of the Maryland game. Yep. They came out and beat the wheels off of Wisconsin yesterday. It was at home, but Wisconsin been playing really good ball, and that, like I said, that basically clinched the Big Ten. Going into the season, nobody thought this Michigan State team was going to be any good, and he basically said, this is one of my least talented teams, but they play good together. They play 9 or 10 deep, and I said it week 3 when I watched them play at the Maui Invitational. I said, this team is going to have a chance to go to a Final Four. And a lot of people were like, no, they can't shoot. They're too reliant on defense. I'll tell you what, they're starting to hit shots. They're starting to play better offensively. They win on the road. They win on neutral floors. They're a very good basketball team. They're going to be a 2 or 3 seed. They're going to be a tough out in March, and don't ever question Tom Izzo in March. He is March Madness, all right? The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Izzo. It was funny in the postgame against Maryland. He goes, that was a lucky shot, but we deserve to win that game. We deserve to win that game. And I think it was Andy Katz. I was like, wait, why did you guys deserve to win that game? Why do you say that? He goes, did you watch the game? Did you watch it? He goes, we were dominating the game for 39 minutes, and then we just had a bunch of turnovers in the last minute. He goes, Maryland's a good basketball team, but we deserve to win that game the whole way. And he's dead right. But it was funny. He's like, what are you talking about? Did you watch what everybody else did? Okay, Izzo, Brookie of the Week. Congrats. He's definitely going on the wall.
Way to go, Tom.
Is Juju Watkins remains to be seen. Okay.
Well, that would be, pretty racist thing for you to do, and that's what we've come to expect on this show. You shit on Mike Tomlin.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I mean,
am
I lying, Bailey?
We're gonna move on. Mike Tomlin sucks. That's nothing to do with race.
Fucking genius.
Okay, so does Rodney Terry, and that has nothing to do with race.
Well, Rodney Terry's yeah, well, of course. He's horrible, though.
I
don't think there's anybody there. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that.
That's right.
That Rodney Terry, the guy that got fired at Fresno State and UTEP, should be UT's head coach.
Well, apparently a lot of fans felt that way when it first happened. Okay, we're actually going to go into WNBA or not to start here.
Let's do it.
It's time to play WNBA or not.
WNBA or not, number 1.
Zoom in. Just taken from Instagram, obviously.
They're all taken from Instagram. Purple background there. I don't know where she looks like she's at a club, maybe?
Probably strip club in Atlanta.
Strip club in Atlanta.
Yeah, and I'm going to go one step further and say she plays for the Atlanta Dream. That's a strip club in Atlanta.
That is Ari McDonald of the LA Sparks.
1 for 1.
No,
okay.
1 for 1.
All right.
I thought that would get you on that one. Why would you think a WNBA player would be at a strip club?
I don't know.
That's some
just
bullshit.
Go to clubs.
All right, number 2.
What the hell? Zoom in. We got some woman Brokeback Mountain action going on.
That's
here.
Right. Brokeback.
Got a horse.
Brokeback WNBA.
Who the fuck is that? Zoom in on the face. I feel like I know who this is, and you're just. That's fucking. What's her name?
Who?
That's. Yeah. First of all, it's definitely not a WNBA player. That's Carissa Thompson. In a hat.
That's Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana.
No, that's
yes,
Carissa Thompson.
Straight off her Instagram.
Nope, bullshit.
Straight off her Instagram.
Honestly, though, side profile, like zoom in again, does it not look like Carissa Thompson?
She definitely looks.
Right? Now
that you say that, she actually does.
She does side profile look exactly like her.
What a good picture I used.
And I knew Carissa Thompson does, like, I forget whose ranch it is or something, but she always wears that. It's and Edelman wears a hat too. It's like Ruby Ranch or something like that. So I just figured that's what it was.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she looks from the side anyway. I don't know she looks just like Carissa Thompson.
Yeah, she does. But I'm glad I got you.
That was a good one. You got me.
Okay, number 3.
Still think it's Carissa, but
number 3.
This is Dylan wants me to think this is a WNBA player. It's not a WNBA player.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
We're alive,
He's
baby.
going all WNBA
Let's
today.
go.
All WNBA.
What a pick. All right, he's only 1 for 3, folks. That is Esmery Martinez of the New York Liberty. And we are now 1 for 3, and we are alive and well. Let's go to number 4. Uh-oh, this is getting interesting now. He's got to go 2 for 2. Is this a WNBA player or not?
Zoom in.
More?
What the hell is going on here? This girl kind of looks Chinese, but she's big.
You want me to zoom in anywhere else, or are you good?
Yeah, zoom in on the clothes.
On the clothes?
Yeah, I want to see if she's doing like it. Okay, so I feel like this is a. Go to the price tag on the clothes.
I don't think you're able to see it. I'll zoom in, but I don't think you can see it.
Oh man, I don't know what he's trying to do here with this one. She looks. You know what? I'm gonna go with my gut. Oh God, dude, because I really don't. It is a WNBA player.
Let's fucking go!
Damn it, dude.
Let's go!
I knew my gut. It was so funny because
I got her because the height. I knew you'd go with it because of the height.
But it looks like an ad, like a clothing ad. Obviously, like she's. Who is that one?
Her name is Kimora Lee Simmons. She is a TV personality and former model.
Yeah.
I just typed in because you tend to go, and I shouldn't give this away, but you tend to look at their hand size and how tall they are and go with that. And so she has a big, like you can see how big her hand is
she
right
does.
there.
The only reason and she definitely looks WNBA player, but the ad, like this ad here, looks much more like model, so that's why I was confused. It was a tricky one because big old hands for sure. She could play in the WNBA.
Definitely
Could. Oh my God, this is like, what's going on here? That's a double thing, right? Like that's two people morphed together.
Yeah, I have a real one. This is a fake one.
Okay.
Can you tell me?
Who the morph
is?
It's definitely Brittany Mahomes and somebody else.
No, it's actually not. So
not Brittany Mahomes.
No. The I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
The woman's body and the man's face. The woman is a comedian.
Oh, that's what's her name? Because she was at the SB Glazier.
Yeah, that's Nikki Glazier. That's pretty good. Okay, can you see who this is, Bailey? If you want to look, it's pretty funny.
On the eyes, I'm trying to think who this could be. So that's the man's face, though.
Yeah,
lately,
and the man
is it kind of like? Do they mix them kind of? Like a combination of.
This one they kind of morph, but they use most of his facial features. This is
those eyebrows look like fucking Anthony Davis's. They got some big old eyebrows.
That actually do, but it's not Anthony Davis.
Okay.
This guy's like shorter than, he's like 5'4". Maybe shorter. It's Beetlejuice.
Was he at the ESPYs too?
No, I just took his face and threw him on
Okay,
her.
that's why I was thrown for a loop. Yeah, no, it does kind of look like Beetle.
I've already won, and so we're gonna go though to the real last one.
Let's just go to the last one.
Okay, is the WNBA player or not?
I'm trying to see if I recognize her at all. Man, I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go yes.
That's Laverne Cox and actress. 1 for 5 today.
Yep. Same.
Wow.
I replicated the wrong way of my last week's results. That was a dominating win for Dylan this week.
I'm hyped now. That was a good week.
Laverne Cox. No fucking clue.
I did not think I was going to get there. Okay.
She's probably in those horrible fucking network TV shows they have going these days.
Oh, what a loser!
We are going to talk. By the way, I started watching. I put on an episode of Deal or No Deal Island this weekend because I was curious how it worked.
God.
Hold on, listen. And it's so bad. It's so bad that I actually watched the entire first season. I watched the whole season of Deal or No Deal Island.
Yeah, you have a serious problem. Was it the worst TV show you've ever seen?
It's so bad.
I'm kind of interested. I'm intrigued.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you watch, you're like...
Can you actually win some real money on there?
Yeah, the girl who won the whole thing won like $1.8 million.
Oh, yeah. It's not bad.
I'm not going to get into it.
I will say this, and it was super cheesy, and we talked about it briefly, but the wildest thing I've ever seen on a game show ever was the Mr. Beast games, and there's 6 people left playing for $5 million. And he goes, one of y'all can come flip a coin and double the prize money, but if you're wrong, you just go home. And it just benefits everybody else. And some guy goes, all right, I'll flip it. And he goes, are you fucking serious? He goes, I added this in here thinking that like it'd be cool and I was offering this and everybody would be like, turn it down because why would you, unless it like, sealed your way into the final or whatever. The guy goes, yeah, I'm going to flip it. And he goes, are you kidding? He goes, tails, and he wins. And he's like, son of a bitch. He goes, now we're way over budget. He was pissed off.
Dude, I was listening to him talk about it, and he was like, he goes, oh yeah, he goes, it was a terrible investment for me. Beast Games was. I lost like tens of millions of dollars. He goes, we spent like $65 million on the first 2 episodes alone, and Amazon only gave him $100 million. And he goes, so he's like, the guy's like, so did you lose money? He's like, yeah, I lost money. I just told you I spent 65 on the first 2. There was 8 episodes. He goes, I lost tens of millions of dollars on this show.
Crazy. He's
like, but I'm glad I did it. Anyway, I don't support watching Mr. Beast games. That's disgusting. Okay. But you should watch Caitlin Clark, WNBA. Definitely watch that. Don't watch Juju Watkins, though. She did not deserve a brookie. All right, we're moving on.
Racist.
Let's go to some risers and fallers from this week. We're getting close to March Madness. Actually, I believe we have from yesterday 2 weeks to Selection Sunday. So we'll have next week's show. By the way, I did talk to Vex. I think he's going to come on next week.
Good.
So we'll have Vex on next week, and then The following Monday will be a perfect day to shoot because we'll have the selection show the night before.
And Big Dog will reveal his bracket.
He'll reveal it before?
Highly anticipated.
Before or after the games are already done?
Oh, it's a good question. We'll have to ask Bailey on that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure it's
No,
sealed.
I think he's selecting them and we're sealing an envelope, right? Yeah, get back to you.
Yeah, that's right. Get back to us. That's right. That sounds about right. Okay, biggest risers and fallers. We're going to go with risers first. Okay, number one, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's definitely one of the highest risers this week. They had 2 massive wins. Coming into this week, I believe they were the next 4 buys on Lenardi's line. So they were, probably in at that point if the tournament were to have started going into this week. But then they go, and I talked to Bailey about this because obviously he's a huge Vanderbilt fan, but I was thinking, if they just split those 2 games between A&M and Missouri, whichever one, and got 1, I thought they had a good shot at getting in, adding another big quad 1, top 15 win. And they go out and win both games. So they win at A&M, which was super impressive. A&M has been on a slide. They lost 4 in a row, lost again on Saturday to Florida, but they've lost 4 in a row. They were a top 10 team 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
But they came into this week 12th, and Vanderbilt beat them at home. Really, they were the better team the entirety of the game. It wasn't like they stole a game late or it was close the whole way and they found a way to win. They were ahead the entire way. And A&M actually, the final score was kind of not indicative of how the game went. They won by 2, but they were really the better team the whole way. So I think anybody who's watched Vanderbilt knows they're a tournament team. They were picked to finish dead last in the SEC, and they're going to finish right in the middle.
So disrespectful.
They're
tired of the disrespect at Vanderbilt. And when I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of Bailey, okay?
Okay, just making sure.
I'm
You're
not
such a big Vandy
I'm
fan.
not trying to jump on the bandwagon like you've tried to do, which is a disgusting act, by the way. Bailey's been suffering for 20 years with the worst athletic program known to mankind. And, they get a little bit of success and people like you show up in a fucking full-blown Commodore outfit.
Look.
Yeah.
I'm just supporting my Commodores, okay?
Yeah, my Commodores.
I've been a big Commodores fan for a while. No, in all seriousness, they're in the tournament. 7 to 8 seed is what I'd project them as right now. Okay? Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, my biggest riser is going to be Michigan State. I mean, they've won 5 in a row now. They beat Purdue, Michigan, Maryland, and Wisconsin.
That is a crazy stretch.
Well, starting with Illinois, too.
Yeah.
Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Maryland, and Wisconsin. Crazy stretch. I think barring them somehow losing like 3 in a row, they're like for sure on the 2 line.
I think so, too.
I don't think they could go anywhere else. I think they're going to go 2. I don't think they're going to end up getting a 1 just looking at the teams ahead of them. I just don't think they're going to end up.
No, they're
putting them
not
ahead of
going to get a 1.
They're not going to get a 1.
They're not going to get a 1.
I think they're safely at 2 now, barring 3 losses in a row. So,
although when you look at them, if they were to let's say they were to win their next 2, which is very possible.
If they win the Big Ten tournament, they'll be a 1 seed.
That's what I'm saying. If they win at Iowa, which they should, and then they take care of Michigan at home, they're going to finish 26-5, 17-3 in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then they go and win the Big Ten tournament, they'll finish close to 30-5. I mean, it's hard because you look at those other teams and like Auburn is going to be the number 1 overall seed and Duke is going to be a 1 seed. So there's only 2 spots left.
If Houston loses like to Kansas somehow this week and doesn't win the Big 12 tournament, they could pop Houston.
That's
exactly about
right.
it, probably.
I agree. I think they're probably going to give either Florida or Tennessee.
Right. I think you're going to see the at least 2 1 seeds out of this.
I think so too. And if Tennessee's win over Bama, I would say they're right now slotted into that other 1 seed. Florida, I think, is better than Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's that great, but they have the resume, and I think they played a tough non-conference schedule as well. So I'm gonna say it's gonna end up being Tennessee and Houston, but I could see it being Florida and Michigan State as well. So those are the 6 teams I think that are in the mix. I think you can knock Alabama out after that last.
Oh, for sure. They're not
going to be a 2 or a 3. Okay, biggest riser number 2 for me. We're going to go to, I'm kind of sticking to some bubble teams here, but I'm going to go to Indiana. So they didn't beat anybody good this week. They beat Penn State and Washington. Neither were good wins, but they keep adding wins to the resume. And Indiana, they were like completely out like a month ago. They were like not even in consideration. They had lost, I think they went on like a 5-game losing streak in the middle of conference play, but then you go back and look at who they lost to. they had a bad loss to Northwestern, but the other losses in that stretch, they went 1-6 in this stretch. They lost Illinois, Maryland, Purdue, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Michigan State. Those are the top teams in the Big Ten. So it's not like they were losing to bad teams. The one at Northwestern was a bad loss. Since then, they're 4-1 rather. They won at Michigan State, beat Purdue at home, and then took care of both Penn State and Washington on the road the last 2 games. They were actually a team that was I believe a top 15 preseason team. They got some really good transfers. They got Omar Ballo from Arizona came over there. They got also Miles Rice, who came over from Washington State, who was their best player last year. They already had Malik Reneau, who was pretty good. So they've got some talent. And Mike Woodson already had announced that he was stepping down at the end of the season. And I think that's actually shot some energy into them because they do like Mike Woodson. I just don't think he's that great of a coach. He's not a bad coach. He's just average. Indiana thinks they should be winning national titles. That's why he's stepping down. Because that's we're borderline to make the tournament.
It's a tough fit in today's world. I don't think he's a terrible coach by any stretch, but it's just with young kids and he coached in the NBA and then, kind of being a hard-nosed guy. It just doesn't really, it just doesn't really work.
Agreed.
I can't imagine he's great with the boosters. I mean, just all kinds of stuff.
No, I agree. But I do think Indiana has a decent shot to get in the tournament. If it started today, I think they would be in. Their last 2 games are at Oregon and versus Ohio State. Oregon's playing some good ball right now. That's going to be tough. I think that Ohio State game is going to be to get in the tournament. If they beat Ohio State at home, I think they're in because Ohio State's another team that's kind of right on the bubble. And that would be a big win. You add it, they've beaten Purdue, they've beaten Michigan State.
Right.
Only 3 teams have beaten Michigan State all year in conference play. So I think Indiana's going to get in, but they're one of my biggest risers for this week. You got another one?
Here's an interesting one for you. My other one's just going to be St. John's. I mean, they basically played themselves into a 2. I mean, could very well be a 2 seed, maybe a 3, but
probably be a 2.
I think they're going to end up being a 2. And like you noted, you told me, and it's true. It's you look. They have 4 losses and by 6 total points.
Yeah.
Should have beaten Baylor. Obviously, that was a fluke ending. I assume the Creighton game. I think they lost by 1.
Lost by 1.
So I mean, it's that one, and then the other one that I was going to have that they're actually 1 spot out of the top 25 on the AP or the media, and then they cracked the top 25 and the coaches is VCU. Looks like people think they're going to be in.
No, yeah. VCU...
And we watched them play the other day, and it was like I said, George Mason is an overrated team. Obviously, they've been finding ways to win games. Maybe they're well coached and win games ugly. But I don't know if their point guard was hurt or something, but they didn't have a guy that could dribble the ball up the court on VCU. I mean, and it's the way these games are officiated. But they beat UMass by 30. They beat George Mason by 16. They won at Richmond by 18, and they beat Davidson by 34.
Yeah, I mean they've been playing really good ball.
24. So yeah, I mean they've just been killing people. So
yeah, they've won 8 in a row.
I think they're pretty much, unless they could even lose that Dayton game, I would say, in a close fashion, but I maybe not. But I think they're going to ultimately get in. I think they're going to put them in.
They've won 8 in a row and 14 of their last 15. Their only loss was on the road at St. Louis. About a month and a half ago. Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule. They've got at Duquesne and versus Dayton. I think they probably win both those games. And if that's the case and they finish and get into the A10 tournament 26-5, they could lose in the first round and they're probably still in. I was looking at they have a ESPN predictor, and I think ESPN going into today has them as an 80% chance to get in the tournament.
Right. So
right now I would say they're in. I don't know what Lenardi has them on. He hasn't updated it. It'll be updated tomorrow, but I want to say their last 4 buys right now. They might even be off the last 4 buys now. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that as the last riser. Okay, let's go to some fallers, and I'm gonna start with my Texas Longhorns. It's been an embarrassing season for a program that has pretty much unlimited resources compared to a lot of programs. It's not even close to the resources they have. Obviously, they had the whole situation with Chris Beard a couple years back, and Rodney Terry took over. And in all seriousness, I know I joke about Rodney Terry, but he's not a good basketball coach. He's not a good recruiter, and he's not a good basketball coach. And yet they still got, even though they got no other recruits this year, they have Trey Johnson, who people have him as a top 10 pick. I think he's the best player in the draft, and that might be a hot take. But I think Trey Johnson is the best player in this 2025 class. I think he's going to be an absolute star in the NBA. He is unbelievable offensively. He plays good, plays hard on the defensive end. I don't know if I've ever seen a freshman in the last 10 years. I don't know if I've seen a freshman that fucking good at playing NBA style basketball where it's one-on-one. Like Cooper Flagg's really, really good, but he's not like getting the ball and isolating and hitting step back tough threes like you'd see in the NBA. Like that guy could go into the NBA right now and give you 15 points right now, like as an 18-year-old. He is unbelievable. And regardless, with him on the roster, Texas has just been on an absolute slide, and they lost by 20 basically at South Carolina this week, which is, I think South Carolina had not won a game. I'm sorry, that was last week. So last week they lose at South Carolina, who had been winless in the SEC. They come back this week, and they're still in. Like, even with that loss to South Carolina by double digits,
crazy,
they were still in, and they go to Arkansas and at home against Georgia. It's like, okay, even if you split those, like, for some reason, Lenardi likes Texas, and the metrics kind of like Texas. So it's like, if you just split those, and they lost to Arkansas, and they were still, I think they were the last team in, you get Georgia at home, and you lose by 16, and you're down by 20 the entire game, they're out. Like, there is no way they're getting in. Their last two games are at Mississippi State, which they're not winning, and then at home against Oklahoma, which is 50-50. Even if they won both games, I think they might get back in the conversation, but they'd have to win a couple games. They'd have to probably win both of those and then win 2 games in the SEC tournament, in my opinion. Just looking at them in comparison to Arkansas, Georgia, right? Those teams on the bottom line that are right next to them. I just, the only team you could say maybe is like above them right now is Oklahoma, or that they're above is Oklahoma, because they have one more conference win than them. But I don't think Oklahoma should be in either. Regardless, they're my biggest faller of this week. They've gone from, like, in 3 weeks, they've gone from, like, basically in the tournament to they're 1-6 their last 7 games, and their only win is Kentucky, who is real banged up, and they beat them at home by 4.
Yeah, my biggest faller is going to be A&M and lost 4 in a row.
Oh, man, yeah. What has happened?
Well, I mean, at Mississippi State, tough game, but they got blown out there. That game against Tennessee, they were losing most of the game, lose that. And then the inexcusable one, no offense to the old Commodores, played well, but you can't lose that game at home in conference play. And then you go to Florida and you get smoked by 19. It's a tough place, and it doesn't get any easier. It's Auburn at home tomorrow.
I wonder what the line on that's going to be, because I know, like, normally I would think A&M would be like a short dog, like a 2.5-point dog, but coming off 4 straight losses, that might be like 4 or 5. To be honest,
I was gonna say, I would say 4.5. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, big. I mean, they're safely in the tournament, whatever. But I mean, their seeding is taking a big,
big hit,
big hit. They're probably like a 3, right?
They had them. They actually, I believe,
having them at 2 or something.
When they came out with the initial rankings. They do the initial like top 16. Yeah. They were the 6th ranked team at that point.
Right.
And I think they had them like safely on the 2 line. Dude, I could see them falling as far as like a 5 seed right now. If they lose to
6,
Auburn, if they lose to Auburn, you could say maybe even a 6. Like 5.
When do they release that on Tuesdays? Like the college football one? Does it come out?
I can't remember when they released that one. I forget. It was either today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the top 16 or whatever.
Let's see if they have the AP. Do they have the AP one out or no?
I think the AP one's up to date. Yeah,
what did they drop to? Did they drop? They dropped all the way to 22.
Yeah, they're way down there.
They were 6th, and they dropped to 22 in 2 weeks. That's what happens when you lose 4 in a row. Yep. That's the SEC. I mean, I've never seen. I don't know if I've ever seen a conference this deep. Like, you could argue that maybe like the top of the Big East back in the day was really, really good, and that conference was super deep as well. Like the old Big East back before it dissolved, and then obviously it came back. Right. Before it dissolved, that was the best conference in college basketball, and those teams would beat each other up. I don't know if that conference was this 13, 14 teams who at any given night could beat you, and even South Carolina and LSU, like, they're not good, but they've had a couple wins. Like, there's nobody winless in conference. Everybody's got at least 2 wins. I don't know. That's a gauntlet of a schedule.
And then my other big faller, I hope I don't steal this one from you, is the only other one I had was Gonzaga. I mean, not that they're getting beat by the bad teams at WCC, but they just got smoked at home by St. Mary's. I think that was last Saturday. I think we watched that.
Yeah, it was the week.
They're
a week
safely
ago.
In though, or no?
Gonzaga? Yeah. I heard somebody saying like
he's on the coaches poll and stuff down here. They're like, technically, it looks like where they have them ranked at like 30, 31.
No, like all the advanced metrics really like them. Yeah. So they definitely are going to get in. After that St. Mary's loss, the second one last week, there were people saying like, when you really look at it, they really haven't beaten anybody. You go back like, okay, they beat Baylor early in the season. They beat the living shit out of them, but Baylor's a fringe tournament team right now. You look at the rest of their non-conference, their best win besides that was Indiana, who is a fringe tournament team now. And then like through the rest of okay, they played West Virginia, lost to them early. They're not that good anymore. I know they had DeVries at the time, but they played Kentucky. They lost. They played UConn. They lost. They played UCLA. They lost. They lost to Oregon State. They lost to Santa Clara. So like they've lost to some teams that aren't in the tournament, and then every tournament team they've played pretty much they've beat. They've lost to. So I don't know. They're in, but I think they're going to be. My guess is it's actually kind of going to suck for a 1 seed, because I have a feeling they're going to be on the 8-9 line.
Yeah,
and they're going to have to. Somebody's going to have to play them in the second round. Which, look, they're not great this year, but you have Nimhard as a point guard who's had plenty of experience in March with Creighton and with Gonzaga. You've got multiple guys on that roster. EK,
super talented.
It's like not a team you want to face in the second round.
No.
Kind of similar to how FAU was an 8 seed last year, and then they ended up losing in the first round anyway. So, but anyway, okay. My other faller is actually going to be Oklahoma, and they've been falling for a while. But I will say this: poor Oklahoma and Porter Moser, who I actually think is a really good coach, and they lost to Ole Miss on Saturday. And Chris Beard said it too. He's like, he goes, We're really good friends, and this statement has nothing to do with the fact that we're friends. That guy's one of the best coaches in college basketball, which I agree with. And I don't know, supposedly that Oklahoma job for basketball, they don't have a ton of resources. Like they don't get any money.
They don't give a shit.
Which is crazy to me. They have now lost, let's see, they have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their last 8 games. And looking at it, okay, they lost this week against Ole Miss. I don't know if you saw the ending of it, but they were up.
I didn't.
They were down 9, fought all the way back, took the lead with 40 seconds to go, and were up by 2. And Sean Padula hit a step back 3 to go up 1. And then Oklahoma actually got fouled on the last possession. They didn't call it, and they lose. So they lose basically on the last possession. The game before that, they had Kentucky at home. They led by 1 and just needed to stop. And Kentucky hit a wild shot basically at the buzzer to beat them. So they lost those 2 very, very close. LSU a couple weeks ago, bad loss at home, but they led the entire way, and LSU basically hit a buzzer beater to beat them. I mean, they've lost like 4 SEC games at the buzzer on the last possession, and you look at it, they're 4-12 in the Big 12. If they win 2 of those games and they're 6-10, they're probably in the tournament right now. People have them out. You just can't put somebody in who's 4-12 in conference play, in my opinion. But if they were to win, they have Missouri at home and at Texas. They win those 2 games, they're going to get back in the conversation. But overall, they just have not been able to get over the hump this year. And to add 2 more losses, you had a great opportunity with Kentucky at home, and then you lead by 2 at Ole Miss. You win either of those games, you're back in the conversation with 2 games left. I mean, they've dropped out. Like it felt like Lunardi and everybody really wants to put them in because they were undefeated in the non-conference and they have some good wins, right? Like they beat Arizona on a neutral, they beat Michigan on a neutral, but when you lose that many games in conference play,
it's just tough.
You just have to fall them out, or drop them out. So, you have any more or no?
No, those are the 2 I had. So
okay,
let's do one more. Go ahead.
No, I don't have any more. But let's do some blind resumes.
Okay.
So, team number 1, we're gonna, and I'll have this up on the screen, but these teams are very similar in terms of overall record: 19-11 versus 18-11. KenPom and the net are pretty tight as well. Obviously, the team, it'll be on the left when I show it. So, team on the left has a bit higher of a KenPom and a net. However, you look at the quad 1 for team 1, 1-10 in quad 1, 5-0 in quad 2. Team 2 is 4-11 and 4-0. And then you look at strength of record; they're about the same, 42-46. I think also quality wins is versus the BPI top 50. They're both 3-9 in that. Best wins though, look at best wins. So the numbers next to them, and I forgot to put this on some of them, but those are the current KenPom rankings. So the best win for team 1 is beating a team number 27. That's their best win all year, and they're 1-10 against quad 1. Whereas the team on the bottom has wins over Michigan State on the road and against Purdue. Obviously, this team is probably a Big Ten team. I don't remember who this is. I made these last night. I do know who that is. Who would you? I would put in team 2 if I were me. I would not. I would say team 1 is out and team 2 is in.
No, for sure. I would definitely put team 2 in. Team 1's got to be North Carolina, right?
Team 1 is North Carolina.
Yeah. Team 2, I'm trying to think who. Team 2.
I think it's Indiana.
Is it Indiana?
Yeah, it's Indiana. Yep. Indiana number 2.
I didn't realize it. Yeah, they do have those sneaky weird wins. Like they won at Michigan State.
At Michigan State is a huge win for them.
Yeah, and I don't think they're very good. I agree with you. It was one of those teams because at the beginning of the year, they were ranked, I think, in the top 20, like you
Yeah.
said, and people thought they were going to be talented. They just got smoked by some teams. So,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. I think it works in their favor that Mike Woodson's stepping down, and if the kids do like him and they're playing hard for him, it plays. So,
Yep.
I think with those two resumes, I definitely put in Indiana.
Question: looking at games left for North Carolina, they're at Virginia Tech and versus Duke. I'm gonna say they win at Virginia Tech and they lose at home against Duke. If that's the case, they'll finish 20-12, 13-7 in the conference, and they'll finish, because at VT will not be a quad one. They'll finish 1-11 versus quad one teams. Do you think the committee would put them in? They're currently on the last four outline, I believe.
No, I think if they lose, I don't know. It's a tough one. I would say that they probably don't get in just with that 1-10 against.
How do you
they just have
justify
no
that?
wins.
They
Yeah, I
have
don't know how
beaten
you
no
put them
one.
in. And Indiana just has to win one of those last two games. If they win one of the last two games, I think they get put in. If they don't, they're for sure out. They have to beat either Oregon or Ohio State.
No,
you
can't lose both.
They
of
have to
those games.
win one.
If they
If they go
lost,
10-10 in conference and then maybe win a tournament game like that, I think they're going to be in.
they'll
Probably be a last four in, right? But I think they're going to get in.
I actually think obviously the Oregon win would probably be a quad one, and I think Ohio State at home. Ohio State, the metrics like Ohio State, I think they're 30 or they're like between 30 and 33 in the net. So that actually could be a quad one.
Let's see where they are.
But the thing about it is, if you beat Ohio State that last game, that knocks them down another one. I just think if you beat Ohio State, that's kind of almost an elimination game. So, yes, the Oregon win would probably be a better win theoretically, but I think if you beat Ohio State, you're in. I think that's the game they should be circling, obviously.
Right.
At home.
They have Ohio State 32.
Yeah,
Here's a
32,
funny one in
two.
KenPom. This is how good the SEC is. They have South Carolina as the 67th best team.
Yeah, and they're the worst team in the SEC by far. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to number 2. Team on the left has a better overall record and a better conference record. However, somehow the team on the bottom is 32 in the KenPom and 36 in the net.
I was about to say they have to play in the SEC.
I actually think this team plays in the Big Ten. I'm not 100%.
Oh no,
sure.
sorry, I just see Kentucky there. Sorry, yeah, Purdue, Maryland. Yeah,
definitely
best,
is. Yeah,
best wins. Yeah,
that has to be.
Yeah,
I know who that is now.
It's Big Ten.
Now I know who that is. Yeah, but quad ones, I mean, roughly equal in terms of win percentage, right? 5 and 9 versus 3 and 5. Quad 2, much better for team 1. Quad 2, 4 and 4 is crazy. That's actually pretty bad to be 4 and 4 in quad 2. Now, team on the top there does have 2 quad 3-4 losses is the problem, and the team on the right is 7-0. Looking at strength of record, they're about dead even, 54 and 52. Best wins. Who has better wins here? Definitely, I guess the bottom team does. Yeah. Bottom team does.
Yeah, this is a tough one, man. I would say
I actually think both these teams are going to be out.
But
I would say the top team just barely. I don't like the quad 3 and 4 losses, but the fact that the team 2 is 4 and 4 in quad 2, they have a losing record. They don't have a winning record in quad 1 or quad 2. How is that a tournament team to me? That's how do you lose? How do you have that bad of a record in quad 2? I don't get that. I don't. 16 and 13 losses is 13 losses to me. I don't like teams getting in with 13, 14 losses.
I agree.
You had so many opportunities, you lost that
I'll
many
be
games.
honest with you, I kind of agree. I don't think either team gets in, but if I had to put one in, I'd probably put the top team in.
I think
because that's 5 more losses. Is top team New Mexico or who is
no,
that?
I think the top team is Boise State.
Okay.
And I think the bottom team is Ohio State.
That would make sense. That's
Boise State and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yep. I think both those teams are out.
I think neither one of them.
Ohio State, odds-wise, going into Saturday, I believe, and they didn't play Saturday, was minus 140 to make the tournament, which is wild to me.
That is wild.
But it's just because they have some really good wins, but I do think they're going to miss it because I think they're going to end up they're either going to lose one of their next 2 and they'll end up out, or they're going to be right on that last 4 in line. And every time, we talked about this last week, every time you're on that last 4 in line and you get into the part where bids start getting stolen, where a team who isn't like an NC State last year where they weren't going to get in, they win the tournament, that knocks the next team off. I think they're going to both miss. Boise just, man, if they went out and like got to the Mountain West championship game and lost, they might get in. That might get them in.
Right.
If they just
they like putting Boise in last 4 in, so you never know.
They do. They do like having Mountain West teams in. Okay, all right, we're about to get out of here. I'm going to give you a hypothetical here.
All right. Last week was too easy.
Was it?
One shot, 10 million or prison for a year.
And you chose prison.
No, I said I was going to shoot it.
You said you were a choking dog and would probably miss it, though.
Right, but 50-50.
50-50. Okay, so I don't have a phenomenal one this week.
Okay, that's all right.
But
I'll make it work.
Okay, which of these? Okay, we'll just start with this one. Which of these would you rather do? Okay, which of these would be the most fun to do? Okay, hit a game-winning shot to win the national championship.
Okay.
Make a game-winning shot to win an NBA Finals Game 7. Score the final game-winning PK in a World Cup final. Hit a walk-off home run in the World Series. Game 7. Make a 50-foot eagle putt to win the Masters. Or serve a perfect ace to finish the match at Wimbledon to win the championship. If you had to pick one, which would you do?
Probably well, here's the thing. So if it's a loaded question. There's a lot to unpack here. The eagle putt at the Masters would be pretty sweet because then you get to go back to the Masters every year and be a part of the Champions Dinner and the tradition. So that's my number one. And the only reason I say game-winning PK wouldn't be World Cup because the World Cup, you have a nation behind you and then you're a national legend forever. But no one really remembers, like, when you go to penalty shootouts, right? It's like, listen, you want to be the guy that scores the last goal, and that's great and all, but it's not like, it's like they won on penalties. Sure, he made his penalty, but you're, like, expected to make a penalty kick, right? So if it was like, if you told me it was the game-winning goal, you won 1-0, and it was like a spectacular goal, I would go with that. But since it's a PK, I'm doing the 50-foot eagle putt at the Masters and getting to go back every year, play, and just be a part of that tradition.
That's a fair one.
Yeah.
If
national championship shot would be really cool. That would be my other, like if you hit to win a national championship would be pretty cool.
I think that's probably what I would choose. I guess I left out college football or NFL. You could score a game-winning touchdown or whatever. But like NBA, whatever. Like, that'd be cool. But I would probably pick national championship just because I love college basketball, and it'd be awesome. Like that's the Chris Jenkins Villanova shot is like the most legendary shot in college basketball, and then the NC State one with Jimmy Valvano. Like those live on forever as just like crazy, unbelievable shots that will never be forgotten. So I would probably say that.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. I think that holding out for eagle somehow or whatever at the Masters or making a long eagle putt would be pretty damn awesome. And like I said, the soccer thing is definitely enticing because of the having the whole country behind you.
Sure.
National legend, especially like Brazil. If you're Brazilian or Argentinian,
Yeah.
That would be pretty sweet.
Last question for the hypothetical.
Pretty sweet.
All right, so I've asked you something similar a while back, but we're gonna switch the pool of people, and it's gonna be a little bit different. Okay. So we're gonna go back to medieval times, and we're gonna have a gladiator match. Okay, it's a gladiator battle to the death in the arena in the Coliseum.
Okay,
and it's all the NFL current head coaches. Okay.
How many do I get to pick?
Okay, just give me your 3 guys who you would like make as the favorites to win, to stay alive and to win. And keep in mind, okay, they each have like a weapon, right? So like they each have like a sword or a knife or an axe, but like not necessarily a gun, but they have something they can defend themselves with. It's not just bare hands.
Well, Vrabel and Campbell are definitely 2 of my guys. And then from
no, dude, Campbell, you don't think Campbell, he is super aggressive. I feel like he would gamble early trying to like get a lot of kills.
He might.
He does not play they don't play a lot of defense over in Detroit. And he's going to go for something that he shouldn't go for and get stabbed in the back or hit across the head. That's just my belief for Dan Campbell. Vrabel, I could see being there at the end for sure, but I like that. Who else are you going to say?
Nick Sirianni's a pretty big dude. He might not be a bad pick. I don't know. It always seems like he's, I don't know, click and see how big he
seems like a dweeb.
Pete Carroll, old veteran.
How long would Pete Carroll last? Over under 3 minutes?
25 seconds.
No, because Jim Harbaugh would go straight over and kill him.
Yeah, I think I would go Campbell, Vrabel, and Jimmy. Those would be my 3.
What about who's Jimmy?
Harbaugh.
Oh yeah, Harbaugh for sure.
Yeah, those would be my 3.
I'm trying to go through here and see. Okay, who would be the first 3 dead? Who would be the
Andy
first?
Reid,
Why Andy Reid?
because he just wouldn't be able to run away. Pete Carroll, and I'm trying to think of who else would be dead instantly.
There's a simple one for
Probably Dable would be dead pretty quick.
me. I don't know. Daboll's been on Ozempic lately. He can move around
That's
now.
a good point. He's lost some weight.
Dude,
Maybe
you
he can
forgot
move
one.
around.
The guy who would be dead before any of them is Mike
Oh,
McDaniel.
No, he's a genius.
Mike McDaniel would be he would be hitting his vape in the corner and he'd
He's
be
a
too
genius,
stoned to
dude.
move.
Yeah.
No, that guy would be dead quickly. I would say Mike McDaniel's probably dead pretty quickly. I'll tell you what, I can't believe you didn't say your boy. Yeah, you're right. Nick Sirianni is 6'3".
Yeah, I'd probably go then.
6'3", 193.
Yeah, he would definitely get a contender. Honestly, I might even go Sirianni over Campbell, like you said, because Campbell would probably get risky early. Not to mention Campbell's a little bit older and he's been through some shit. Like he would be a tough guy to kill, but he's like, he's got more aches and pains, I think, than Sirianni.
It's a good
Sirianni's
point.
a pretty big guy.
He's a little more youthful.
If I got Sirianni, could I add Big Dom to the? Do you get like?
No,
are
you
they
don't
like
get
a
Big
package
Dom.
deal?
No, you don't get Big Dom.
I think I get Big Dom and Sirianni.
Are you
then
kidding?
it's like,
Big
I
Dom
take
would
them
beat
both.
all of them, so that's not fair. You
That's
can't
right.
throw Big Dom in
Big
there.
Dom.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like who else in here. Zach Taylor would be dead pretty quick, I think. I don't think he would make it very long. Let's see. Going through here. Raheem Morris would be okay. Matt LaFleur, D'Amico. D'Amico. D'Amico would be. D'Amico might win the whole thing. D'Amico might win the whole thing.
Forgot about D'Amico. He's definitely getting drafted.
D'Amico's up there.
D'Amico would kick.
Would
everybody's
McVay
ass.
last very long?
Nah. Well, I think he's a pretty good athlete.
Yeah, I think he. I feel like.
I would, but yeah, I mean, the more you think about it, I'd probably go. I'm definitely Jim Harbaugh is such a psycho, dude. He almost has to be. Like, I know he's a little bit older now, but he's just like, will bite an ear off. I mean, he would do any to win. He's a win at all costs kind of guy. Vrabel's a little bit younger, I think, than Campbell too. I don't know. I'd probably go Vrabel, Sirianni. Like if you and I forgot about D'Amico, but you probably go D'Amico, Sirianni, and then Vrabel. Like I would definitely go Vrabel over Sirianni. I'm not saying that.
So
but
you're
like,
saying
those would be my
Harbaugh's not in
three.
the top 3?
He's getting old, man. I mean, he would fight to the death. Eye pokes, nut kicks, ripping ears off, biting. I mean, yeah. I mean, he would win at all costs. A lot of these guys would.
I can't believe you.
Shanahan would be dead.
Oh yeah, Shanahan would be dead very
Mike
quickly.
Tomlin would make it right to the middle. He
Yeah,
would
I was
die
about
right
to.
in the
You
middle.
stole
Yeah.
my line. I was about to say.
Yeah. There'd
Mike
be
Tomlin
16 guys dead, and then Tomlin would go. But he would definitely be in the top half.
Yeah, he would be in the top half for
That's
sure.
funny.
He would make it, but he'd have no actual shot of winning the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. All right, that wraps up our show for this week. Episode 72 in the book. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to comment below. Let us know in the comments who would win in a gladiator fight between all the NFL head coaches. Who's your pick for a gladiator battle to the death NFL head coach edition? And
If Big Dog was allowed in, he'd fuck them all up.
He wouldn't make it past. He would get killed by Mike McDaniel.
Wow.
Yeah, he would. He would not make it very long.
I'm telling you,
He needs a knee replacement. He can barely move around right now.
Please.
You guys been struck by lightning, All right.
Seriously.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, subscribe to our Patreon, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week. We'll hopefully have Vex on as a guest.
Yeah,
and
you have
then
Vex
2 weeks
on.
from now, we're going to be talking college basketball selection Sunday.
Right.
We see if Big Dog can replicate his perfect bracket. And yeah, it'd be good stuff. So make sure to tune in, turn on alert so you get alerts when we put our new videos up. And we will catch you guys next week.